Hello, my dear audiences. Welcome to the show. East-West is the show G&E TV. My name is Jack Chow. I'm so proud to be the host of this show. And for years, thank you for your support. And when entering the holidays, especially at this time, I owe you a great appreciation on behalf of EDI, the organization, the mothership, and the G&E Studio, and also the show, the South East-West. That we thank you for supporting. So without you, nothing could be possible. So once again, today, we're looking at what happened during the past 3 weeks and 4 weeks, 4 weeks. First, we heard about the Paris shooting, right? Paris shooting. And then with the going back and forth between Russia, Turkey, so on and so forth, internationally.
Right.
And at home right now, last week, we had the San Bernardino County shooting, right? Lots of people died, 14 of them, 21. There's another word saying 25 wounded. Those are bad things. Well, you know what? We just cannot allow all the bad things to come take a major part of the holiday season. There are good things too. Exactly in between, internationally, RMF made a very important decision to accept the Chinese currency, RMB, as the international exchange currency within the RMB system. And by that, the SDR, which is the special joint right of international currencies, been allowed, been allocated in a way. Lots of folks call me to ask, Jack, can you do a show? Let us know some basic about RMF and SDRs. So here with my good friend, Mr. Steve Hundley, we are having this opportunity of having his thought and having his guidance on these two issues. I have lots of questions, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back, Jack.
And by the way, I like the match of your tie and your suits, right? They are perfect. Okay,
Thank you.
Basically, what is IMF?
Okay, let's start with the IMF. The IMF stands for the International Monetary Fund.
International Monetary Fund.
It's headquartered in Europe. What it is, it's a fund that countries who are developed have put together to help countries that are either, one, developing, or two, find themselves in a financial straits, or in trouble financially, where they need to have money injected into their economy to save it, or where they're supporting countries that are developing. Maybe they're giving them money for water, or clean water, or education, or whatever. So it's developed countries, the United States, Europe, those type of countries that pool their funds together, and then they distribute money accordingly, based on need. That's
to loan to countries where it is needed.
Right.
I see. So RMF, is that an organization or is that a bank?
It's not a bank.
Not a bank.
To lack of a better term, it's a clearinghouse. A clearinghouse would be this. I'm the United States of America. I want to put money into Kenya to develop water systems. I give the IMF $1 billion. They take that $1 billion and then they turn around and they distribute it to maybe a little bit in Kenya, maybe a little bit in Latin America, maybe a little bit here and a little bit there. They decide. But it's to help countries that are, like I said, they're either developing. Developing means they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have roads. They don't have water, sewer. Or the country's in trouble. The country is going to default on their bonds. A great example would be.
In other words, IMF serves, according to your explanation, like an allocator.
Right, exactly.
That's an allocator, right? For the dispatch.
Right.
Where to and how much to, or to certain part.
Right.
Right. Because United States have a surplus of $10 trillion, for example.
Right.
Well, we don't have that much.
Right.
Okay. Say $1 trillion. And I give the $1 trillion to IMF. IMF will see to it that the needy countries get it.
That's
for the
right.
purpose of developing.
Of developing, yes.
I see. So, is that politics?
Oh,
involved?
everything's politics. The IMF is, yes, it's very political. It's very, because everybody has a different agenda. The United States has an agenda, China has an agenda, Germany, France, everybody has an agenda of where they'd like to see this money to go. And then the countries who are receiving it obviously would like some more money.
What is the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the IMF?
Okay, the Federal Reserve in America, their job is to not make monetary policy, but to implement it. So their job, the Federal Reserve, they call it the Fed, and let's just call it the Fed because that's what it's called. The Fed's job is to look at the American economy and say, okay, the number one thing that they're always concerned about is inflation. In other words, you know what inflation is, right? The definition of inflation is dollars chasing goods. So, so they're trying to control it. And lately, in the last few years or so, they've been pumping money into the economy. The economy hasn't done so well, so they're buying bonds and they were buying $80 billion worth of bonds a month recently. But now, so their job is to control the monetary, to implement the monetary policy. The IMF and the Fed don't really have anything to do. The IMF money comes from the federal government, the Congress, and you know, the legislative branch transits money from the U.S. budget into the IMF.
In other words, they are not interrelated, and by structure, they're not related either.
That's right. So, so one doesn't control the other. One has nothing to do with the other.
Just now, in my example, say United States say I have $1 trillion, right? And I want to give it to RMB. This I here stands for Federal Reserve, the Feds.
Right. The Fed is just looking at domestic economy. They're not trying to distribute money internationally. They're just trying to control the domestic American economy.
All right.
The Congress is giving the money for the IMF.
Now that the news has it that the IMF has accepted our Chinese RMB as one of the functioning currency, what does that mean, please?
Okay, let's go back. I'm going to use the term. I'm going to use Greece.
Okay, Greece.
Because I think it's very common knowledge and it's in the press that Greece has had a lot of financial problems.
In trouble, yes.
Okay, let's say that you, Jack Zhao, are the Prime Minister of Greece. Okay, and you need $1 billion because your bonds are going to default. Your country's going to complain. Nobody's working. So you come to me, and I'm the IMF. And the IMF says, okay, we're going to give you $1 billion. But they don't actually give $1 billion. They give the value of $1 billion.
$1 billion of
value.
By value.
Right.
Equivalent to $1 billion.
So you're still going to get your money. Okay. So what they do is they'll say, okay, well, we're going to give, of that $1 billion, maybe 30% of it is going to be U.S. dollars, 10% of it's going to be euros, 15% is going to be Great Britain pounds, and the other 20% or so is going to be Japanese yen. Up to this time, up till October, the end of October, the Chinese currency was about 4% of that. So 4% is not a lot of money. It doesn't sound like it, but hold on, it gets to be a lot of money. So now, what the IMF said is instead of 4%, it's going to be 6%. Okay, 6% of $1 billion is $660 million. So now, you're the Prime Minister of Greece. I've just given you $60 million worth of Chinese currency. What are you going to do with it? You only got two choices, really. One, you go out in the market and you
Sell
exchange
it,
that
sell
money
it,
for
sell it.
US dollars or euros. Probably not going to do that. Or two, you go to China and say, I need engineering, I need water systems, I need sewer systems, or whatever. So this might not sound like a big deal, but it is. According to Morgan Stanley, which is one of the most dynamic and oldest companies, and they estimate that the value that will bring to the Chinese government, the Chinese economy in the next 2 years would be about $2 trillion. So it's big business.
All right.
So it's great. So they went from about 4% to about 6.5%. So whenever the IMF is giving money now to Latin America, to Asia, Africa, wherever, about 6% of that money that they're going to give is now in Chinese currency.
All right, very good, very good. And I'm so glad that I finally decided to call for this show. And I said many, many times already, this is not a show. To me, it's a classroom.
Yeah.
All right, I learn more. I learn day by day. I'm getting richer, right? Okay. Now, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll keep finding from that point on from my good friend Steve Hundley, founder and CEO of Hundley Financial Consultant Group. A wonderful guy, a wonderful, knowledgeable guy. Whenever the word financial is involved. So stay with us. We'll be right back.